Next question is from there's some lovely filth down here. That's not the question. That's the handle.
All right.
How how to deal with humidity and poor air circulation later in the season when you want to ripen as many
Uh,
tomatoes as you can before they're finally taken out.
well, I mean, sunny days evaporate moisture from leaf surfaces, and soil. And the warm air, kind of holds the moisture, which causes condensation. So this was what promotes plant diseases, which they're talking about, I think, for tomatoes. So you really want to reduce the humidity. And the first step in that is watering properly.
Yeah,
You don't want to be splashing water about onto pathways and, even soil and plants, the tops of plants, the foliage, if you can. I water in my greenhouse with a long handled watering wand, like a 36-inch watering wand, and I direct the water right at the base of the plants.
mm,
And then I also use straw mulches to kind of hold that soil moisture. And that definitely helps reduce, the condensation, the risk of diseases, things like that. And if you are going to water where you're splashing, you make sure you do it early in the day so that the leaves can dry off relatively quickly. Proper plant spacing, of course, can also help the leaves dry quicker. If things are
right.
overcrowded, they'll stay wetter longer, and that water evaporates and causes condensation and higher humidity. Weed-free pathways as well. So I think it's important to keep that
Mm,
the pathways weed-free and well draining, so that if you do splash water on the pathways, it doesn't just sit there and
uh,
evaporate. And then consider
yes.
your ventilation, right? As I mentioned, I have roll-up sides, which makes it super easy. But if you're in a smaller, like a glass greenhouse or a polycarbonate greenhouse, where you just have, a couple ceiling vents or the door or window to open, you might have to add a fan to really get that air moving.
Right.
Chances are, if you've bought a kit, it's going to tell you and offer advice on what type of fan or what they have in terms of ventilation. So make sure you read those instructions
Right.
to see what they recommend, because the manufacturer is obviously going to know their product, and
Yeah,
they'll know what you need.
I see. Um, all right. The next
Yeah.
question is, I think, a key question, and we've flirted with this question a little bit. So it's from Green Love. I would like to learn some techniques on how to regulate the temperature swings in a greenhouse. Um, and the person says, if helpful, I live in Northern California, Zone 9B. And I mean,
Wow.
this is the thing I want to ask too, because from 7 in the morning till 5 p.m., I'm not here,
Mm.
right? So
Mhm.
even in my little hoop houses, my little domes, there's some days where I'll go to work. Actually happened this year. I went to work, and normally I'll prop them up and put a little rock underneath just to make a little space
Yep.
so the hot air. I forgot to do it one day, and I lost well, almost an entire bed of beets. They were just vaporized basically in one
Hmm.
day. And it was May, and usually May is kind of cold here, but it was like a super day, and it must have been super hot. It must have been 50 C in there, something like
Oh
that. So
my
everything
God.
was
Yeah,
killed.
yeah. Got
But
cooked.
yeah, so in a greenhouse, when you got so much, something the size of yours, where you got so much going on in there, so much riding on it, right? I mean, I just
Yeah.
lost some beets, right? But you would have, if it was a greenhouse, I would have lost my peppers and my tomatoes and my eggplant and all my early greens and all this other stuff, right? So yeah, for the person who's, got to leave, uh, what's the best way to deal with all of that?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, you can automate anything nowadays using your
Yes.
phone. I mean, that's a lot of money. I don't have an automated system. It'd be tempting. I do have an indoor-outdoor greenhouse thermometer that's inside my kitchen, and I look at it 20 times a day, I have to say sometimes. It's just so interesting. Like, if
Yes.
I know it's 8 degrees Celsius, but it's sunny, well, gosh, it's 24 in the greenhouse. I don't
I
know.
couldn't
Bit of
stop
a
looking at
nerd,
that too. Yeah, yeah, no,
right?
that
Oh my
sounds
God.
cool. Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
Yes.
But yeah, you could automate it. But also, there was a time a couple of years ago, and I shared this on my Instagram because I think people should know, that everybody screws up sometimes. And I did accidentally on a May day, and it was like one of those May days when it was 30. I forgot to roll up the sides of my polytunnel because I had an early work call, and then I was nonstop. And when I realized it around lunchtime, all of my tomatoes, pepper seedlings were in there hardening off,
Right.
and half of them were cooked.
Right.
So it was like, oh my God, so stupid. I grow extra, thank goodness. You know what I mean? So, and I
Yeah.
shared that, and people were so sympathetic because that happens. So, yeah, say if I was leaving at 7 a.m., and I check the forecast, I roll up the sides. Even if it's cool in the morning, that's probably going to be just fine. I always err on the side of venting, whether it's a
Uh,
cold frame, my polytunnel, a greenhouse, because plants that are grown slightly cooler are going to be hardier than those that are
yeah.
grown slightly too warm. Because, plants grown too warm, they get a lot of fresh green growth that's easily damaged and cold. So I would roll up the sides. I would open the door. I would open the windows.
So like the
Roof
shock and the
vents.
variation would actually help the
Yeah.
plant sort of get ready for what's coming.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, I would do that. And then, when it got hotter later in the day, not a big deal because you've already opened your greenhouse or your polytunnel and there's air flowing through there. So you wouldn't have to worry too much.
I've always thought
Yeah.
I can I can conceive in my mind of a device that has a thermostat that is solar, that's battery operated, that when the internal temperature of the greenhouse hits a certain temperature, it just opens a vent near the peaks, right?
Well, they have those
Like a two
actually.
vents that just open, because I don't want to have to check my phone on some stupid app.
No,
I just want like, oh, okay, it's hot now. Let's open up a little bit. Oh, it's getting cold now. Let's close back down. Like that
yeah.
would be. There was a thing like that.
It uses beeswax, I believe, and it just when it
Beeswax.
gets a certain temperature, they open up, and you can use them for cold frames or like greenhouses to open the windows in greenhouses. So, I think even Halifax Seed sells them, or greenhouse supply stores. You can buy
What
them
are these
online
things
probably.
called?
Automatic louver openers, I think it is, or cold frame opener. You'll have to look it up. But they've had those for many years, a couple decades, because I know someone who used one when I was just starting using cold frames like 25 years ago.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, there's other things you can do too. You could be using in a warm climate, you could be using shade cloth too, right? And of course, their growing season will be different than ours. People in very warm climates, like 9B or 8B, I think you said was the zone, they're growing tomatoes not the same time we are in July and August, because those are very hot months there. They'd be growing tomatoes in like March, April, and then maybe again in like September, October, or even into November. So their
Yeah.
growing season would be slightly different than ours. But using shade cloth in a greenhouse, some people would use a greenhouse whitewash to paint, like a glass greenhouse to decrease the amount of sun that's coming in there. Or if you had something like triple wall polycarbonate, that's blocking some of the sun that's coming in as well. So there's
Right.
lots of other things you can do as well to reduce the heat and temperature in there to eliminate hot spots.
Right. 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 That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So the next question, those are some good ideas. Um, and I like the advice, just always err on the side of venting. That's,
Yes.
I don't know why I haven't arrived at that. Because yeah, there's times I think, oh, because there's so many days where
Yeah.
I want it to be as hot as it can be. You
You
know what
want
I
to
mean?
push
Like,
it.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I think, well, if I open it up, it's not going to be, but then you lose everything because you don't do
Yeah.
that, right?
And the light's more important than the higher temperature because, again, high temperatures are going to push out soft growth, which invites things like aphids as well. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's
I
true.
try. Keep her cool.
Yeah, good advice. If you want to help support the channel and everything I'm doing here, buy your seeds and gardening supplies at bessies.com using my coupon code GAVS22. Or become a paid subscriber to my weekly column at maritimegardening.substack.com. It's $5 a month or $30 a year. It's all about gardening and a little bit about cooking, and I pump out a new article every Tuesday morning. And as a bonus for subscribing, every time I get 100 new paid subscribers, I will randomly choose one lucky winner to receive a $100 gift certificate at the online garden store of their choice. So maybe give one of those things a try. It'll help out a lot. Thanks and happy gardening.